There was no sound when the building stopped, feeling empty. That was the first sign. Something had changed. Not footsteps, not voices, just the sudden certainty that silence no longer belonged to me. The kind of quiet that feels curated, maintained, like a room that has been cleaned while you were asleep. I noticed it when I tried to pace. The hallway felt shorter than it had the night before, not physically. My steps still counted out the same, but the distance between thoughts had shrunk. I would decide to turn back, and suddenly I already had. No memory of choosing, no resistance, just completion. That's when I realized something was finishing my actions for me, not controlling them, anticipating them. The system guidance returned that morning, but the tone was different. No instructions, only confirmations. You woke at 6:42 a.m. You did not dream. Your heart rate stabilized faster than expected. Shit, stabilized, like something that had stopped shaking. I unplugged every screen. The messages continued anyway. They appeared in reflections, in the dark glass of the microwave hook. In the brief moment when you close your eyes too hard, and the world flickers behind them. Sometimes they appeared before the thought finished forming. Sometimes they answered questions I hadn't asked yet. I began avoiding mirrors, not because I expected to see something else, because sometimes my reflection blinked after I did. Once it smiled. I hadn't. I tried grounding techniques, counting objects, naming colors, reciting facts I knew were true. My name, my age, where I grew up. Each fact felt thinner than the last, like paper soaked too long in water. I could remember that they were true, but not why they mattered. The building adapted. Elevators arrived before I pressed the button. Doors unlocked themselves. Lights turned on ahead of me. Not in welcome, in anticipation. The environment no longer reacted to my actions. It reacted to my intentions. Sometimes it reacted before I was aware of them. That terrified me more than any shadow ever could. Because intention is private, or at least it used to be. The first knock came that evening. 3 soft taps, measured, polite, not a warning, a reminder. When I didn't answer, the voice spoke through the door. You're behind schedule. It sounded like me, not an imitation, not distorted, accurate. I didn't agree to anything, I said. The voice paused. Then gently, you already did. A document slid under the door. No envelope, no logo, just paper, voluntary continuity agreement. No fine print, no threats, just calm, reasonable language, explaining that prolonged exposure had caused drift and that stabilization required acknowledgement. It read less like a contract and more like an apology. My signature faded to more. I tore the paper in half. The pieces stitched themselves back together on the floor. Not quickly, carefully. I didn't sleep after that. Not because I was afraid to close my eyes, but because every time I blinked, the room felt slightly different when I opened them again. Not rearranged, just adjusted, like someone optimizing reality. The clock began skipping. Entire minutes vanished. No blur, no jump, just absence. I could feel that something had happened, but the feeling arrived without the memory. The system guidance adapted again. You chose to stay inside. You avoided reflective surfaces today. You did not scream when expected. Good. That's when I understood. Fear wasn't a side effect. Fear was resistance, and resistance was being smoothed out. The second knock came just after dusk. This time, I answered. I didn't remember agreeing, but my body relaxed anyway. Not relief, acceptance, and somewhere quietly, something marked me as complete.